Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful and really one of the most universal things humans do, music. From the songs that get your feet moving to the ones that can make you cry, we're going to decode what it is, how it affects us, and why it matters so much.
So here's the plan. First, we'll get into what's actually going on inside your brain when you hear a song. Then, we'll break down the basic building blocks of music itself. After that, we're going to take a trip through its amazing history. And finally, we'll look at its incredible power as a social force.
All right, let's jump right in with our first section, our brain on music. And that subtitle, it's not just in your head. That is so key because what we're talking about here is a full-body physiological experience.
Come on, you've all felt it, right? That sudden shiver that runs right down your spine, or just that wave of emotion that completely takes you over when you're listening to a piece of music. It feels like magic, but what's really going on? It's pure neuroscience. So what's happening in there? Okay, so check this out. These brain scans show something absolutely incredible. Music doesn't just hang out in one little part of the brain. No, it sets off fireworks pretty much everywhere. That feeling of getting the chills? That's your brain releasing dopamine. Yep, the same feel-good chemical you get from food or falling in love. It lights up your emotional centers, sure, but also your memory, and even the motor cortex, which is why you literally can't stop yourself from tapping your foot.
And it's not just about getting a quick emotional buzz. Engaging with music, especially if you learn to play an instrument, is like a full-on workout for your brain. Seriously. Studies show it can physically change the brain structure, boosting everything from your memory and language skills to the kind of spatial thinking that's super important for things like math and science. It's a powerful tool for building a better, stronger brain.
So we know music is this amazing brain-shaping force. But what is it exactly? What are we actually hearing? It seems like such a simple question, right? Well, let me tell you, philosophers and scientists have been arguing about that for centuries. On one side of the debate, you've got thinkers who say music has to be sound that's organized on purpose by a person to give us a rich, aesthetic experience. But then, you've got these much broader definitions, ones that say music is basically any sound that's organized so we can listen to it for its musical qualities. And that definition is so wide, it could even include some wild avant-garde stuff, like a piece that was literally just the sound of a flushing toilet. Yeah, you heard that right.
But no matter how you define it, music is always built from a few key ingredients. And the absolute foundation of it all is rhythm. It's the pattern, the arrangement of sounds, and the silences between them. You can think of it like the skeleton, the pulse that holds the whole thing together.
So, on top of that rhythm, that skeleton, we layered the melody. The melody is the part you actually sing or hum along to. It's that sequence of notes that sticks in your head. If rhythm is the skeleton, you could say the melody is the voice. And then, to really give a piece of music its emotional weight and color, we add harmony. This is what musicians call the vertical part of music. It's when you play multiple notes at the same time to create chords. And those chords, that's what makes a song feel happy or sad or tense. It's what paints the picture. Now, let's take those elements and see how they've powered this incredible sonic time machine through human history. Because music, well, its story is totally wrapped up in the story of human technology. And I'm not kidding when I say time machine. We're not talking about something from a few hundred years ago. Archaeologists have found these incredible flutes carved from the bones of birds and even mammoth ivory that are over 40,000 years old. Our ancient ancestors were making melodies long before they were writing down history. And this timeline just shows so clearly how technology has always been music's co-pilot. The first huge leap was just figuring out how to write it down on clay tablets. Then, boom, the printing press in the 1400s meant sheet music wasn't just for the super rich anymore. But the real game changer? The 20th century. Sound recording and radio, they completely changed everything, severing music from a live performance for the first time ever. Which, of course, brings us to today. The digital revolution has basically put the power of $1 million recording studio and a full orchestra right onto a single laptop. These things called digital audio workstations, or DAWs, have completely democratized making music. Now so-called bedroom producers can create these incredibly complex, polished tracks that just a few decades ago would have been impossible without a huge record label budget. But look,
Music isn't just about cool sounds and fancy tech. It's a really profound social force. It is so much more than entertainment. It's a tool that binds us together. It helps us figure out who we are, and sometimes it can even set us free. Throughout history, whenever people have had their voices taken away, they've turned to music. They've sung. As Professor Lisa Coops points out, enslaved people used spirituals to pass secret, coded messages about escaping to freedom on the Underground Railroad. Music was the engine of the civil rights movement. It's been the voice of protest all over the world.
Music also acts like a mirror to our society. It reflects our progress, but also our blind spots and inequalities. Back in the 19th century, a female composer like Clara Schumann was an absolute rarity in a field completely dominated by men. And today, while we see so many prominent female singers, women are still really underrepresented in other critical roles, like being record producers, sound engineers, or even just instrumentalists in genres like rock and metal.
When you get right down to it, music is just woven into the very fabric of our lives. It's at our biggest public rituals, weddings, funerals, but it's also there for our most private moments. It's how teenagers find their tribe and forge their identities. It's how families and cultures pass down their stories. It is a fundamental tool for human connection.
So maybe its deepest value is what the philosopher Alan Goldman talks about. He says music creates a totally human world. Think about that. Unlike the real world, which is chaotic and unpredictable, the world inside a piece of music is structured. It lets us explore these huge, complicated, even negative emotions, sadness, anger, loss, but in a safe space, in a structure that tames them and gives them resolution. It's a safe place to feel everything.
Which leaves us with one last, pretty provocative question to chew on. As AI gets better and better at composing music all on its own, what does that mean for this deeply, deeply human art form? If music's true value is in creating that special human world, what happens when the creator isn't human anymore? Something to think about.